Hi everybody, Darian here with Pike Outside. I've got the brand new version of the Backwoods Bungalow by OneTigris, and I'm going to compare it to the old version, talk about the improvements they made, show how you set it up, and talk about what I like and what I don't like. Come join me. Here's the old version, the original version. And here's the new version. It looks quite a bit smaller. I've really stuffed it down in there. Instead of rolling it up, I've just stuffed it down at the bottom, and the stakes are right there. So this is the original version of the OneTigris BlackOrca Backwoods Bungalow that I was sent to demo. I was lucky enough to be chosen from a group of people. I didn't think I'd have the opportunity because I'm kind of a nobody online, but yeah, I really have loved this tent, and my video is kind of blown up, at least by my standards. So obviously there's some interest in this tent. Now, there were some issues, and I kind of highlighted some things that I thought I'd like to see improved on version 2, and BlackOrca has done that. So now they've sent me version 2. There it is. Okay, so you've seen me set up version 1. Right now what I'm going to do is set up version 2. First thing you're going to want to do when you set up this new version 2 Backwoods Bungalow is locate the 4 corners and spread it out that way. The 4 corners can be a little confusing because there's actually 2 tie-out points at each corner. Now the one is the tent itself, the other is going to be some little flaps. Here's the flap, so ignore that. So we're going to put some stakes down, and let me show you what the other corner is. The other corner is going to look just like this. So here's the secondary tie-out point I was talking about, right here, okay? That actually zips into the front door, okay? So what we want is the tent body end. So we're just going to stretch it out, make sure it's all square, get all 4 corners staked down, and we'll go from there. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to get trekking poles or sticks. And I like my trekking pole set at 135 centimeters in each section. I've got these Lucky trekking poles, and I think that brings it up to about 5 feet in height. That seems to be about the right height for this thing. So once you've got them the right length, or found a stick that's going to be the right length, you'll slip it right through there. This works with trekking poles or sticks. And then the tent is almost standing by itself. So if you're backpacking, you use trekking poles, that's super convenient. This is kind of a backpacker's tent, believe it or not. Maybe not the lightest weight one, but it's pretty light. So there you go. Now it's basically standing on its own. So this is what I like to do. I've done it different ways. I've done it with a guy line between a couple trees. That's another option if you don't want to cut any sticks or don't have trekking poles. But this is what works really well for me. I get a really square pitch this way. So I've got a taut line hitch right there. If you don't know what, or not a taut line hitch, I'm sorry. This is a bowline. If you don't know what a bowline is, look it up. There's plenty of tutorials on that. I just loop it over like that. And then on this end is where I've got the taut line hitch. Again, very useful knot for tent pitching especially. Look it up if you don't know it. Okay, so I've got the other 4 corners staked out. That's these little flap things we were talking about. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put this in porch mode. This doesn't have to be pitched this way. I enjoy pitching it this way. I think it looks fun. It's very inviting, campy, and cozy in the best sense of the word of campy and cozy. So we're going to unzip both corners. Oh. And pitch each out like that. I like to have a smaller little branch on the top of the larger branch that I use to suspend it. I also like to have a couple other options if I want different heights for different wind conditions. So again, bowline over the top, and my taut line hitch pitched out. All right, we got it all pitched. Let me set up camp a little bit so we can kind of envision what it would be like to camp inside of it. And then I'll talk about the differences between the two and the improvements that OneTigris has made on the new version. First off, I've only had one night in this version of the tent so far. I spent last night in it. My wife and I both squeezed in here with some large Exped Megamat 10 mattresses, and the two of them fit in there as a squeeze, but they fit in there just fine. We had a thunderstorm roll through, 1 to 2 inches of rain, and we stayed dry all night. So that was fantastic. I did notice a little bit of moisture had got in later in the day because I left it set up and it continued to rain, but it wasn't bad. Overall, I think it was a solid C+ in terms of waterproofing. Let's talk about the differences between this new version and the old version and the improvements that I like, and maybe some other things that we could see still improved on this tent. So a couple things that bothered me about the first version of the Backwoods Bungalow, which you see over there, was these tie-out points. They were just too short and nearly impossible to get the screen to tie up. Those were lengthened, okay? A simple thing, but a big improvement, okay? Can't really tell, but that's just really short and hard to get all that screen material in there. The next thing they did is they changed the ventilation system. The old system was this external ventilation system, as you can see over here. Nice little windows, I like them, but you can only open and close them from the outside. So, if you were in rainy conditions like we were last night, you started getting rained on, you'd have to get up, get out of bed, go outside and close the vent, which of course hampers ventilation, and when it's really rainy in the summer, it's humid. You don't want to do that. So, this was a great solution. What they did is they put the ventilation system in the back here, and it just flows right through. So I left this up most of the night in porch mode until it really started raining, and then I closed it down. We just had the bug screen down, kept the bugs out. Man, that ventilation was so nice because it was a humid night. Okay, so there's that. Works well. Another thing they did, I heard another reviewer complain that they did not have enough stakes, which is true. This old version only came with, I think it was 6 stakes. At least that's what I have right now. So I don't even have enough to stake out these corners right now, let alone that little tie-out point or any additional tie-out points I might want to put in place. On the new version, they gave me 12 total, and they're better stakes. They're longer. They're kind of those trident. It's the 3 finned stakes. They're aluminum, and they're longer than like kind of the V-shaped ones that we had on the last version. So that was improved. Additionally, instead of the single tie-out point in the back, they give you 2 here. So you can really open this up, get some room inside, just a little bit more wiggle room, and then tie out this here. If you look at the back here, that's the only tie-out point. So he's got quite a bit more just to increase the tautness. Overall, I think the material might be better. Maybe I'm imagining things, maybe it's the same exact material, but it feels a little sturdier to me, just across the board than this. You can kind of see what that looks like. It's perfectly good material. This is a little different. It's just a different material, I swear. They also just kind of did a better job with things like the zippers. Here's the zipper and the zipper pull. If you look over here, the zipper pull is more finished here. These ones kept coming loose on me. It's just a better material, kind of a softer, better rope. Same thing for the guy lines. I kind of like these bright guy lines because obviously you don't trip on them as easily as something like this, but it kind of ruins the aesthetic, I think. I think it's just much more aesthetically pleasing to have this whole OD green set up, or maybe this coyote material or something like that, versus these bright things. I think that kind of clashes with the wilderness sometimes, so I do try to minimize those colors if I can. And then, like up here, this is an improvement. This little piece of webbing. Compare that to what they got over here. It's just this tiny little piece of webbing to that little adjuster. And that's fine, but it's just not as sturdy. This is sturdier. Another thing that I noticed about the Backwoods Bungalow, and this really isn't an improvement, I think the floor area is actually the same, but you can fit side by side. I alluded to that earlier when I was talking about both my wife and I sleeping in here. You know, it's cozy. You might want to be married to the person before you sleep this tight, but you know, if you're comfortable with the person you're backpacking with, this could be a two-man tent. I think it's traditionally thought of as more of a one-man tent, but it really could be. Easily fit two people. And we did. My wife and I did. We fit comfortably with those really big mega mattresses. Work great. Okay? Well, that's it, folks. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section. I appreciate all your comments. Tell me what you like, what you don't like about the tent. If you have any questions for me, let me know. Feel free to ask questions in the comment section. I want to say credit to OneTigris BlackOrca. I think they've made a good product that I really enjoyed even better. They've improved every single thing that I mentioned in my previous review and some of the things I saw other people mention. If there's one thing that I would say still needs improvement on this, it would be waterproofing, just because it didn't perform as well as my backpacking tent. But overall, I did not notice any drops in the night. I slept just fine. My gear wasn't soaked in the morning. So the waterproofing is good. I just feel like maybe it could be made even better. Thanks for joining me, guys. This has been Darian with Pike Outside. If you liked the video, hit the like button. And please subscribe and hit that little bell and you'll get more content like this. It's a pleasure for me to get to join you all in this outdoor community and kind of share our experiences and talk gear. It's a lot of fun for me. As always, be kind, be adventurous, and keep tenting. Pike out!